tonight we do have an interesting topic. I want to encourage you all, you still have time to share the link with someone. Yes, hi Natasha. Share the link with someone. Just send it to a friend. This is something that um, I mean, it's kind of too late for the married ladies. You all already have Mr. Right. Once you're married, you are with Mr. Right. Yeah. Once you're married, this is your choice with Mr. Right. But for the single ladies, you all are in a really great position to choose wisely, right? Good night, Astra. Nice to see you. Welcome. I hope tonight's session is informative to you, but it doesn't mean, ladies, that if you are married, that you cannot be a part. I do believe that you're still going to get some helpful tips and you'll be able to share some insight with your single lady friends who you might see going astray, when it comes to choosing, right? Hi, good night, Chanel. Nice to see you. Yeah, it's nice to see all of you. Those of you who are here like for the second time and the new folks, right? So tonight, the topic is called How to Find Mr. Right. And when a lot of people hear that topic, they're like, oh gosh, how much we go hear about finding this Mr. Right? Like, what could we hear again? Like, what possible tips could we get again? Because, I mean, this is something that people talk about a lot, right? Even though that is the case, that is true, people still make mistakes in choosing the wrong partner. They still somehow do not end up with Mr. Right. So even though there is a wealth of information out there, people still find themselves making bad choices. I mean, am I lying, ladies? Listen, if you go on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, the amount of information that you will get out there on relationships, tips on how to choose, how to find the right man, how to be the right woman, all these kind of things. There's a wealth of information out there. But somehow, um, women still seem to get it wrong, right? They still seem to end up in relationships that not going anywhere, or they're stuck for, a number of years and they realize, well, I wasted so much years with this person, this is not the one. Or you find yourself always attracting the wrong person. It's like, why do I attract this type of man? Why is this happening, So yeah, so even though it is a topic that has been exhausted, it's still needs to be spoken about, and you still need help because women are still making bad choices, right? um and so, I mean, I'm not going to give you the typical. I'm going to give you, as I always do, as I Celeste didn't, for the new ones, new people who are here. um I am, my husband and I pastor a church. I have been doing that for over 15 years. And so throughout my years of pastoring and counseling, I've spoken to countless couples, individuals, people who want relationship advice. Um, so it's really easy for me to spot the common mistakes that people make when it comes to choosing, when it comes to wrong thinking, when it comes to relationship. Because I mean, after speaking to so many people, and you realize that women tend to make the same common mistakes, and it's mistakes that can be easily avoided as well. Um, so I am speaking to you today, for those of you who are new, in the capacity of a counselor, a pastor, and just somebody who myself, I've been married for 21 years. Um, so I have experience, I have wisdom that I gained throughout the years. So, what I tell you, it's coming from all different sources, the main source being God. So this, even though I'm a pastor, though, a lot of the information that you're going to hear is not, might surprise you. You might say, actually, I hear a lot of people saying, whoa, I didn't think that a pastor would share that kind of information or give that kind of advice. So some of what I am going to say is very natural. And I'm actually at some point going to give you all some little tricks and tips now to help you all now to, because I feel sometimes the ladies need some help um, in that area, how to attract people and what they could do. To, yeah. So it's going to be interesting. Um, so I want to encourage you all to stay tuned, and you can go ahead and share it at this point, get some people on, right? Because I think it's really going to be informative, right? So first things, ladies, I want to ask you all to do something for me. You're going to have to type it in the chat, right? You're going to have to type it. And I want to ask Celeste to jot down for me as many of the answers as possible. Or maybe you don't have to jot it down. Once you could go back into the chat and call them out for me, right? Maybe I could type, you're right. Maybe I could try to type too as I see it, but I'm not, you all probably see me clearly, but I'm not seeing you all clearly. Something up at my screen, right? So I'm probably not going to be able to see the comments fast enough to take it down. So Sally, you could probably go through, right? But ladies, I want you to do this for me, please. Do me a favor. I want you to type in the comments for me. What are your top 3 qualities of Mr. Right? Because we're talking about attracting Mr. Right today. So I want you to type in the comments for me your top 3 qualities. I don't want, ladies, I do not want the right answer. This is not a test. This is your opinion. This is what you want in Mr. Right. It's not, there's absolutely no wrong answer, right? So your top 3. So if as many of you as possible can type that for me, and Sally, if you could take a note, because at some point I want to figure out, if there's a common one that keeps coming up, in the women's list, right? So you all go ahead, be honest. As I said, it's not a test. It's just to get your idea, right? So you all go ahead and do that. Honest, spiritual. Yeah, I said 3, but if you want to put more, please. Oh gosh, yeah, it looks like someone needs some interpretation. I said top 3, but please, you could put 5 if you want. I have no problem if you put in more. I just said top 3 to keep it simple, right? But you go ahead and type. I like that you all are typing. I'm seeing honesty in your answers as well. Nice. I've seen financially stable come up a couple times. Go ahead, keep them coming. Intelligent, diligent. Nice. Keep it coming. Okay. My phone being very sometimes, so I could see sometimes and sometimes I cannot. Nice. I like this. Ladies type in plenty. They're not afraid to say. Good. We type in. I like that. Y'all just give me 1 second. Keep the typing going. Nice. All right, so looks like we have quite a few Celeste. So I'll just give you some time to probably, I don't know how you could do it. But I want to try to figure out what would be the top 3 common ones. But I see people are still typing, but if you could probably start calling out some of them.
Okay.
But I want to figure out, but I want to somehow to be able to see which is the 3 most common ones that keep coming up.
Okay. So call them out?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
As you call, actually, if I hear one a few times, I'll just type it out. So you go ahead. Go ahead, Sally. Celeste. Sally, you there?
So, family oriented, intelligent, honest, loyalty, God fearing, generous. We have a lot of God fearings and honesties. Born again, financially stable, integrity, a heart for God, gainfully employed, selfless, funny, attractive, intelligent, diligent, God fearing, honest, faithful, loving, kind. We have a lot of God fearing, honest, and kind.
Okay, I should have said from the
Honest.
beginning to not say God fearing because everybody
Okay.
says that. Most people don't mean it. I'm so sorry, ladies. Hope it doesn't offend you. Most people really don't mean it. Because if they have everything else but the God fearing, they will let it slide. So everybody would say that. So ignore the God fearing, right? Go ahead, keep it coming.
Okay. Honest, faithful, understanding, honest, loving, financially stable, ambitious, great communicator, gentle, good sense of humor, trustworthy, respectful, responsible, good relationship with extended family, taller than me, committed, faithful, ambitious, responsible, positive mindset, faithful, financially stable, kind, honest, respectful, adventurous, leadership qualities, integrity, vision, authentic, compassionate, understanding, faithful, good sense of humor. That's what we have so far.
Okay, so a lot of the common ones was, well, besides God fearing, honest, ambitious, plenty faithful, financially stable. I mean, people said it in different ways. What else would you say, Celeste? Like they just like if you just look
A
at
big
over
one
quick,
was financially stable.
right? Okay, so let's see.
A lot of people said loving and faithful.
Okay, so faithful. Yes, I heard faithful a few times.
Yeah.
A good provider.
And honest.
Faithful.
Honesty was a big.
Honest was a lot. I heard honest a lot as well. Right. Okay, so let's say, right. So ladies, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you all sharing sharing that. It would seem as though, I mean, I made my own list before. I thought more people perhaps would say handsome, but I guess in the scheme of things, when you get older and you experience life, you realize it's one thing to have a handsome man, but if that handsome man can't be faithful, he can't provide for you, he can't be honest, he ain't have a sense of humor, you know, it's just a pretty face, right? But it's nice to have the handsome in there. A lot of you said good provider, faithful, honest, right? So good provider, faithful, and honest. So let's say that's the top three. I saw somebody say, right, somebody said taller than them. Yeah, for me, that have to be a stipulation. I am married, but that had to be one because I'm 5 feet. So, I mean, for me to go somebody shorter than me, first of all, where I finding that, you know? But yeah, taller, I could understand that, right? Good. So we have your ladies. I heard your qualities, and most of them are things that most women would look for in a man. Um, so let me ask you a question now, right? Now, a lot of you, I know I said a truly God fearing on the side, right? Um, and the reason why I do that is because I know people have somehow, even though they tell people, you know, yeah, be honest, they still feel, hey, I have to say the right thing. But I'm telling you all from my experience, people say that, especially Christian people. You'd find maybe people who are not so inclined towards God or church or anything to do with spirituality will not have that as an answer. But people who are, you know, in church and stuff and a Christian, they might say God fearing because they know that, I mean, the Bible actually says, do not be unequally yoked with an unbeliever. Um, so most women would say, yes, I want somebody God fearing. But I have not seen in my experience people choose based on that. And they even put that as number one. They say, well, my number one is a God fearing man. But then when it come down to it, they meet somebody who might have a lot of other good qualities, but God fearing is not one or the least. The person God-fearing for you becomes they come into church every Sunday, right? That don't mean you're God-fearing. That's newsflash, right? Let me take off this earring. I have a feeling it hitting up the cord, right? So, but God-fearing I mean, it is a good quality to have in someone. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I just think women say it and they don't necessarily mean it, right? So let me ask you a question, ladies. You are looking for Mr. Right. What are you bringing to Mr. Right's table? What are you contributing to Mr. Right's life? How are you? Because Mr. Right, for most women, I don't think I've ever heard a woman say Mr. Right for them is somebody who now trying to catch themselves out there all the time. Correct me if I'm wrong. I never heard a woman say, no, I'm not saying you can't meet somebody like this and fall in love with them and things work out. But if you're thinking of your ideal, I've never heard a woman say, I just looking for a guy who real trying to catch himself out there in life and he keep trying and he little struggling and I want to just be there to help him through his struggles. Or I just looking for a guy who he was unfaithful to all his previous girlfriends. And I just looking for that kind of guy because I want to help him to be faithful. And I feel I will be the one to help him be faithful. Or I just looking for a guy who, you know, they're not too ambitious, but they're a little ambitious. I never hear women say that. Their list of what qualities they're looking for in Mr. Right is always somebody who can bring something to them into their life, right? um or something that makes you as a woman feel comfortable. So most of you said faithful, right? I don't know of any woman who would want somebody who's not able to be faithful to them. So I would think that faithful would be on everybody's list because it is a comforting thing to know that you could trust your husband or your boyfriend and you're not going to sleep in the night wondering where they are and who they're with. Somebody that you could trust, somebody who's faithful. People said honest, somebody who's honest. You don't have to wonder, is this person lying? Do I have to go and check his phone? You have peace of mind because you could trust this person, right? That is something I think every woman would want. And even though all of you may not have put it on your list, I think every woman would want a man who could provide for them. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not saying you're looking for a rich man or you're saying, well, I only want to marry a millionaire or you have to be making a certain salary. But certainly, you would want to think that the man can bring something to the table in terms of finances, right? Now, maybe you might be a really doing well for yourself. Yeah, it would be nice, as Alison said, it would be nice. So I'm not saying that you write off somebody who comes into your life who's a really good person and has other qualities, but they're not necessarily in a position now to provide certain things to you that you say, well, no, I don't want this person, right? That would be, in my opinion, a bit shallow. But I'm saying that if you were to think of the ideal, every woman, you correct me if I'm wrong, if there's someone on the call and you say that's not necessarily the case for me, it's fine. I'm sure everybody has a difference of opinions, but I think every woman would want to know that you're in a relationship where you could be financially secure, right? And nothing is wrong with that. So these are three things that people said, right? There are a lot of other things, but yeah, those are the three main things. So I want to ask you ladies, this man who you want to feel safe with, you want to trust, you want honesty, you want him to provide. Some people said they want him to be funny, humorous. Some people like a sense of humor, all the different things you all said, right? What are you bringing to the table? What is Mr. Right to expect from you, right? Literate, stable. Hmm. Was it literate that she typed? Celeste?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I don't look at finances per se. Um, he just has to have what?
His own, he must be employed. He
Okay,
can't
right,
expect me to.
right. Fair enough. That is fair enough. That is fair enough. So it's not now you're not looking for Prince Charming, you're not looking for millionaire, not looking for Bill Gates, but at least that this person is employed and you could tell that this person has an intention of bringing something to the table financially. I think that's fair, right? Yeah, that's not asking for too much, right? But I want us now to focus on ourselves, on the ladies, right? Because many times we say we're looking for Mr. Right, but who do you think Mr. Right is looking for? Because it's not a one-way street, right? And everybody has their desires. Everybody has um, their thoughts about what they want in this Mr. Right and what their ideal life would look like. But what do you think Mr. Right? You see, you can't only look at it from your side. You have to think about this Mr. Right now, this man who you looking for, who's faithful and a good provider and honest and trustworthy and all these other things, right? What kind of woman would he be looking for? Because any man who is faithful and has integrity himself, has a good character and integrity, is going to want a woman who is faithful and has good integrity and character. Because he's not going to um, be somebody who has great qualities and stuff, and his parents bring him up well and whatever, and then you end up with somebody in your life that you can't even trust. So, Mr. Right, ladies, right? Newsflash: Mr. Right is looking for Mrs. Right, right? Mr. Right is not looking to get into a toxic relationship, right? Mr. Right is not looking to get into a relationship with somebody who is emotionally unstable, right? Mr. Right is not looking to get into a relationship with a gold digger, right? And I know there are no gold diggers on this call. None, none, zero. In fact, what is even that, right? What is even that, right? Mr. Right is not looking, basically, Mr. Right is looking for Mrs. Right, right? So, with that said, ladies, what do you think is required of you? Where these lists still coming, boy. Still supportive, faithful, understanding, kind, respectful, helpful, genuinely, financially stable. Whoa. This list still coming. Hey, all you want, hey, I like these ladies. They know what they want, right? I like that, right? So, ladies, right? I'm going to call all of you Mrs. Right today, right? What do you think you are bringing to the physically attractive? I like Alison. I find you women left that out. It's like that don't matter. It doesn't matter how we look. Ladies, is that true? Tell me in the comments. How high up on your list? Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, where does attraction come in for you? How attractive does he have to be on a scale of 1 to 10? Yes, I said top three. My bad, you're right. 8, right? 10 being the highest, right? So 10 being the highest. They're still listed educated. 9. But Natasha, I hope he was in your top. Stacey said 10. So you say it on a scale of 1 to 10, he had to be a 10. So how are you going to find a 10 who is also faithful, who is honest, who is a provider? You put real pressure on yourself. Alison says 7. Let me see. 7. Okay, 7 kind of fair. So the 7's willing to compromise. It's more important that he's smart. 10, a pretty boy. Hey, people looking for pretty boy. 6 to 9 at age 25. Okay. Let me see them numbers. Okay, I find they're higher up on the scale though. These women, like, they're not willing to compromise at all. I seen from 7 up. I hardly seen under 7. Um, well, they're not easy. Okay, all right. Well, they're not easy. So, I think I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think women are more willing to compromise in the area of attraction than a man is. Tell me if you agree with that or not. And by that I mean, if you meet somebody who may not be a 10 for you, right? But you fall in love with the person, they have a lot of good qualities, but they're not yet 10. Or they mightn't even make a 8, right? Or they mightn't make a 7, but they have a lot of great things and you really fall for the person, you will compromise. But men, I think they're a little different, right? They're visual. Yes. So it might be a little more difficult for them. So, ladies, I did something interesting today. I took some time and I started a group with some men that I know. Some married, some in a relationship, some single. And I asked the men to list for me their top 3 things in Mrs. Right. Right? Remember, some of these men are already married. So that the already married men is interesting. Some of them are single and some of them are in a relationship but not married yet. And I asked for their top 3, right? And so I put the list together. And you know what I would say, based on what I saw you all say tonight, and based on what they said, they were actually more in sync in terms of their answers were more on the same track, all of them, you know. So I have a list from these guys. It was about maybe how many of them? How many have the group here? Yes, a few of them. Yeah, maybe 10 to 12 of them, right? And they gave me, some of them gave more than 3. Some of them had a long, long list, but yeah. So here goes. So ladies, let me ask you a question. Let me see how well well, you might think you know men. Let me see how well you think you know men. How many of you could guess, again, type it in the chat, what was their number 1 answer? So based on the 12 of them, which was the most common thing that they are looking for in Miss Right? Celeste Ferreira, you are wrong. Let me see. Keep it coming. 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 I'll tell you all after I see all these answers. Keep them coming. Listen, you see Deborah with the can cook? I thought I was going to see can cook and I saw nobody talk about cooking. Nobody. I was shocked actually because I know that big for men. Keep it coming. I'm surprised that not many of you do know the answer. Nobody said could cook. That actually surprised me, I'll be honest. Keep them coming, keep them coming. Okay, okay. Okay, right. My phone going funny, so I'm not seeing the answers again. Keep them coming. Let me see a few more. Great PW. Help me with PW. With PW, whatever. Yeah, I guess.
That's great sense of humor.
Got it. Got it. Right. I'm not seeing my phone, right? All right. So I've seen the answers still coming. And some of the things that you all are saying, they did say. But the number 1, if I had a prize to give the people who said it, I would give all of them, but I don't. The number 1 for the guys was respectful. Respectful. And yes, respectful. That was number 1. I think almost all of them listed respectful as something that has to be in their top 3 qualities of a woman. And that is something I actually always say on these calls when referring to men. They are just hardwired that way, that if somebody is disrespectful or dishonoring to a man, it is not something that they're able to tolerate. It really is not something that, you know, will go well with a guy. So the number 1 was respectful. Yes, yes. A lot of them, they would you know, they would give up. And you know what Celeste said, and somebody else said good looking, Celeste said pretty or beautiful. One of them mentioned looks, only one. And the person who mentioned looks is actually the youngest among them. So I could kind of understand that one person said beautiful, right? Person has to be beautiful. None of the others, none of the married men or the others mentioned, yes, he's single. He's single and young. The one, very true. So the one who said beautiful is single and young. No other guy mentioned anything to do with looks, ladies. And they were not saying that. They weren't trying to say the right answers for me, right? They wasn't on that vibe. They were just being honest, right? And so let me tell you what they listed. So as I said, the top 1 was respectful. Number 2 was faithful, a woman who could be faithful to them, a woman that they could trust, right? Number 3, I think most of them said respectful and faithful, and quite a few said humble. That a woman has to be humble. The other thing was caring. So the top 3 ladies: respectful, faithful, humble. So I want you all to think, right? We go in somewhere, but I want you all to think about those three things, right? Respectful, faithful, humble, caring, kind and compassionate. A few of them well said that. Kind and compassionate, good sense of humor, problem solver, good with money management, not a spender, right? So not a woman who's spending up their money, right? Um, so what y'all think about that list? What do you think about that? What do you think about these guys and their list? Is it a surprise to you? Well, some of you got it because some of you said respectful. A lot of you said faithful. Ouchant. A lot of you said faithful. I don't know if anybody mentioned humble. Sounds about correct, yes. Sally, could you just go through the list real quick and call them out for me, like what the woman said just now?
Okay.
Just
I'm looking for it. So family oriented, intelligent, honest, loyal, loving, handsome, faithful, honest, faithful,
no.
financial.
This is what the ladies are saying that they think
They
the
have?
men said. This is what the
Oh,
ladies are saying. Yeah,
okay,
because you
okay.
said handsome there, and I was like, huh? What man?
Okay, okay.
What a handsome?
Looks, respect, supportive, peaceful, supportive, kind, faithful, looks, honor, can cook, supportive, peaceful, supportive, looking good, peaceful, emotionally stable, submissive, respectful, educated, respect,
Nice,
supportive, honest, faithful, supportive,
nice.
loyal.
Thanks, Kelly. That's good. That's enough. Yeah. So y'all were
Yeah.
kind of on the same track then as what the men were saying. Let me just read a couple. I go into the chat that I probably didn't mention because two of them had some interesting things, right? So one of them said, well, one of them came in at the end and said, well, a woman who is not controlling. And then all of them chimed in and said, yeah, a woman who is not controlling, right? Who wouldn't try to control them. Um, One of them said, whoa, this one had like a list, uh, good thinker, not feeling like she know everything, willing to be taught, joyous, kind. This one, and this a married man. So I just hope he get through because this is an intense list. I'm looking for a particular one. Right. Respectful, ambitious. Actually, two of them said ambitious. So ambitious is the one that I did not mention. Two of them said ambitious. Somebody said someone who cares about their destiny and is transparent. Um, One of them said, I'm gonna make out this one. I don't know if the person listening, whatever, me in business, but the person, one of the things on their list was straight hair. Ladies, straight hair. Now, the man have his preference. I cannot argue with that. I can't get vexed with that. That is what the man say he want, right? This person said strong emotionally as well, not sensitive, right? Not a sensitive person. Um, Passionate about serving God, helpful. So they were on the same page. I'm not reading the common one: respectful, passionate, problem solving, spontaneous. Somebody said spontaneous, right? Yeah, the fellas, they specific. One of them, only one of them mentioned looks. The man says straight here, Father, take the wheel. Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure you all have your preference in looks. Some people have a preference in terms of race. I honestly don't get that. I think it's either you're good looking or you're not good looking. You have good looking men in all races. Correct me if I'm wrong. You'd have good looking Chinese. I know some of you all would beg to differ, but that is you're off if you think that. They have good looking Chinese men, good looking Indian men, good looking African men, Spanish men, um, Portuguese men, all yeah, Italian men, deep eyes. What is deep eyes? So all races have good looking men. So anybody who pinning themselves down to a race, to me, you're limiting yourself, right? But some people have their preference, and honestly, I don't think anything piercing eyes. Woo, what is piercing eyes though? Said straight here is yes, that person's single. Yeah, Naomi, they're single. Let them stay right there and wait for the straight hair. Right there, they're single. Yeah. Single like a dollar bill, like a single dollar bill. I hope. Right. So let's move on. So, ladies, that was the guys, right? And the reason why I wanted to do that, oh, the eyes looking into your soul, I think that would be kind of scary. I think that would be kind of scary. I don't want nobody piercing eyes looking into my soul. I real good. I only want God to do that, right? Um, I good. Although it has been said that my husband does have those type of eyes, but yeah, um, we wouldn't go there. Right. So, ladies, the reason why I did the survey with the guys is because I wanted you all to get to see for yourselves, right? I mean, if I had time, I'd probably do more. But I've been honest. I think I talk to guys a lot, and I'm telling you, these are the things that is big on their list. Yes, they have to be attracted to somebody, but the married men would tell you, and I'm telling you this. I am sure of it. I can put my head on a block for it. Any married man would tell you who's married to somebody that they were heavily attracted to, would tell you that they would trade on that attractiveness. They would cut down, let's say the woman they marry is a 10, and let's say God appear to them in the middle of the marriage and say, um, all right, I taking her down from a 10 to a 5, but she's going to be respectful to you always, honor you always, and supportive to you. He would take it, right? I'm telling you, there's no married man who's going to refuse that offer, right? Because this is something that men value, ladies. And so, why I wanted to get their opinions for you to see, right? I was actually going to show you the chat, but it was talking so much strippiness in between that it was hard. I would have to do work to block out what they were saying and stuff, right? So you all wouldn't think it's just a list that I made up. I want you all to see how sometimes as women, you all focus on the wrong things within yourselves, right? So here it is, you are trying to find Mr. Right, but you go about it using the wrong attributes, using the wrong um, aspects of your personality, using you. A lot of women think that I'm going to attract Mr. Right, so let me look the best that I could possibly look because I want to get Mr. Right, but you want Mr. Right who looking good. All the ladies who say 10, they say they I said on a scale of 1 to 10, there Mr. Right had to be a 10, right? You had to make sure you use a 10 too. You can't attract no 10 and use a 5 or below. So you had to step it up, right? And so but a lot of women, especially young women, think that the way that they're going to attract Mr. Right or attract somebody or get a man to fall in love with them, most of them end up using what they have on the outward, the physical, to attract the man rather than the qualities and personalities and uniqueness about themselves that God has given them, right? And so you listen, ladies, if your strong point in attracting a man and keeping a man, right, is your physical, is your how you look, your body, your hair, your whatever, that physical part of you, you are in trouble, right? I'm telling you, you're in trouble. This is something I tell women all the time. You're in trouble because one, if you are honest with yourself, you would agree with yourself. You don't have to agree with me, but you and the mirror could agree that you are not the most beautiful woman in the world. I'm not saying you're not beautiful, but there's always somebody nicer than you. You're not the most beautiful woman in the world. So if it's beauty you are using to keep him, then it means that some other beautiful woman who more beautiful than you could come and perhaps, give you some trouble, right? Because that's what he into, how you look. And if it's just about how you look, then you have work to do. You had to keep it up. No, you should try to keep up yourself no matter what. But I'm saying if that is all you are relying on, you are putting yourself in a dangerous situation. And a lot of women, the world has gone social media, best photo, good shot, picture looking good. There are filters now that, listen, There are filters now. There are some women. Don't get vexed. There's a woman now, I mean, thank God for filters, so they actually get the opportunity to see how they would look flawless, you know, because there's certain filters that they would use and they take the picture and they look flawless and they like, you know, they would post the pictures like, no, you know, everybody know you're using a filter. I mean, and nothing wrong if you want a good photo and using a filter to enhance your looks, but come on, you know, that's not really you. And if you using that to attract people online, you know, so ladies, it can't be about this, right? At the end of the day, you could be what's her name? You could be Kim Kardashian or Beyonce, but if you are disrespectful to your man or your husband, you're going to wear them down after a while, right? It doesn't matter how beautiful you are. They will be happy that they have a good looking woman. And I'm no man on this earth who would say, well, nah, I don't want a pretty woman. Of course, every man wants an attractive woman, right? But as attractive as you are, ladies, you cannot neglect the things that are really important, which is you being respectful, which most men said, being faithful. No man wants to know he had to be looking over his shoulder, right? And so if you are somebody who you've been in a previous relationship, you cheated, let's say you cheated on your boyfriend or even your husband, then you have to do some work on yourself, because that is not, no man wants to know that their girlfriend has cheated before, once, twice. So no, I don't think any man gonna be comfortable with that. And also something that men, number three, which is humility. I don't think men take lightly to women who are prideful and talk down to people. Men like to see their wives or girlfriends treat other people with respect, um, and be kind and caring, to know that, okay, you know, my wife is somebody who's compassionate, who willing to help others, who's not prideful about who she is. She may be prideful about how she look or education or whatever. Men, they don't like to have the kind of pride, you know, prideful woman, right? And of course the caring, the things and other things, right? So ladies, um, back to you. We heard from the guys and I heard from you, right? If you are really looking, ladies, to attract a particular type of man, Mr. Right, what you need to do is become Mrs. Right. What you need to do is start working on you and start thinking practically and saying, okay, I am looking for this guy, you know, this not perfect guy, but certain things that you want. Um, what in me is going to attract a man like that? What in me, yes, is going to cause a man like that to be attracted to me? What qualities do I have? It can't just be the outward, because a confident, um, a man who has a good job, is a provider, is faithful, and all these things that you said, he looking for a certain standard too, right? And so you can't just bring anything to the table. I think what happened, we look at too much princess movies growing up, but even the princess and them has had to bring something to the table. The princess and them has had to be at least pretty, right? Um, but it's not about you being swept off your feet and taken care of for the rest of your life, no matter what your attitude is. No. Men looking for things too. They want certain attributes and personalities, and they, you know, as well. So you have to start to work on you. So let me say this, ladies, the more confident and secure and independent you are, the easier it would be for you to attract Mr. Right, or dare I say, find Mr. Right, right? Um, we know that scripture, there's a scripture that says, he that finds a wife finds a good thing. I have heard many women use that scripture to say to me that they're not looking for no man, the man had to come and find them. So let me ask your ladies on the call tonight, how many of you agree with that? That you as a woman, you shouldn't be looking for no man or going, and you shouldn't be the one pursuing or looking, but you are sitting waiting for Mr. Right to find you. Because the Bible says, he that finds a wife, so well, the man is the one have to search, and he will find me one day. Let me see how many of you all have that thinking. If that is your thinking, just type yes. If it is not, just type no. Right? No. Nice. Good. Phew. So we have one no. Or it may not be that extreme. Allison said yes and no. So Allison will have to explain herself. How the man coming if we don't go nowhere? Right? Let me hear all here. Yes or no? Should the man be pursuing you or looking for you and you just chilling and just hoping someday you pass and he smell your perfume and say, that is the one, and he will come and find you. Yeah. Or I don't know. I feel people you watch women watching too much movies out there. What you're saying, he finding you, you finding him, should you pursue, should you make the first move then? Let me ask that question. Should a woman be the one to make the first move? Answer that, yes or no. Position yourself to be found. These no's, Karen, I don't know if it's to the last one or the one I asked before. Rudy said they're finding each other. Should you look? Should you be the one pursuing? You have to be careful not to be desperate to find once a good guy showing interest, be mature. And I didn't see the last part of that. Talent by much. Yes, Marissa. Let me hear what y'all think. Is it wrong for a woman to pursue? Is it wrong? Should she pursue? Should she not? I really am looking forward, ladies. For those of you who are new, I want to hear from you all at the end of my part of it because I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear if there's anybody on the call who you are the one that made the first move, and let's say that the person you're with now is your husband. It worked out. Just present yourself, but don't run him down, right? But some ladies need some tips on how to present themselves. They don't have a clue what to do, right? I am actually going to help with that tonight as well, right? With a little 3-step formula that could help you position yourself. I rather not pursue. And again, to read the comments, but Sally will read them for me after, right? So let me go on, right? So I was saying a confident, secure, what is the time? A confident, secure, independent woman would find it easier to attract a particular type of man, right? Rather than somebody who is looking to feel complete or somebody who's looking for a man to um, fill a void in her, to replace some sort of lack or void. You might have this thinking, when I find, listen, you feel a certain way in your life, like you're missing something, you're lacking something, you feel incomplete maybe because of just the pressure that society put on you to find a man in the first place, right? And your thinking is, when I find this man, I'll be complete. Now I'll no longer have this feeling. Or a lot of women I meet suffer with loneliness, and this loneliness takes them from one relationship to the next because they don't know what to do in their alone time. They don't know what to do with themselves. CS says she's too shy to pursue. I'm going to help you tonight. All the ladies who think that they're too shy to pursue, I have a 3-step thing for you. So stay tuned, right? It would help you. I lose my train of thought there. I was talking about if you think that the man is yeah. Sorry. CS threw me off. But I'm glad that you said it though, because I'm coming up, right? Yeah, that you're going to be complete or lonely woman I was talking about who go from relationship to relationship because when they are alone, they do feel incomplete. They feel like they don't know what to do with themselves. They actually don't know how to spend that time with themselves without having a male person involved, without chatting with a man, without going out with a man. It mightn't be somebody that they even necessarily interested in marrying, but just to have a man, somebody to talk to make them feel valuable and worthy. Just they can't spend time alone, right? And you'd find that a lot of women who get married with that, who felt that way, get married and just realize that, wait, now, I still kind of have this feeling sometimes of loneliness. And the loneliness is not because you are alone. You're no longer alone because you're living in a house with somebody, but you still feel the lack and the emptiness and the things that you felt before that made you think that you always have to be speaking to somebody, that I must be chatting with a guy, that there must be somebody telling me you're pretty, right? That if there's no man around saying, hey, girl, you're real beautiful, you real this, some always complimenting you, wanting to take you out, just somebody to make you feel like I'm somebody, like I'm valuable, I'm worth something, right? I am here to tell you, ladies, that a man cannot do that for you. You need to have find yourself in that position before, feeling that way about yourself before, and it's only really through a relationship with God that you could get to that place where you are so secure in your self worth, that you actually value time by yourself, that you actually value your alone time, because it's time that you grow. In that time you become a better version of yourself. You're able to connect to God in that time because you have no distractions, so you look forward to time alone, right? But if it is that you always have to be with somebody, you always have to have some man around, ladies, I'm telling you, that is not a good place to be and to move into a relationship. So if you feel like that, I would say to you, you should not be in a relationship until you sort out those feelings, that lack that you feel inside, right? Um, right. So being in a place of lacking, a woman who's in a place where they are not feeling like they lack anything on the inside, you don't feel empty, you don't feel lonely, you don't feel like you don't have worth. You understand that you have value, that you have a purpose in life, you have a relationship with God, you're able to connect with people besides a romantic relationship. You have friends, you have a healthy relationship with your co-workers, you're somebody who confident, right? um you're not feeling like you're lacking, or you're looking for somebody to fill a void. That when you are in that place in your life, it puts you at an advantageous position to choose the right person, because there are certain things that you will not tolerate. Somebody who is not looking for anything from no man, I mean, men just get vexed when they say it, but a woman who could say, I'm not looking for nothing from he, right? It could be emotionally, where you're not looking for no man to necessarily validate you. Now, ladies, don't mistake me. If somebody really loves you and cares about you, they will tell you things to validate you, to make you feel better, to make you um, feel good about yourself. But I'm saying that if they don't, that's not the end of you, because you already have self-worth, right? So yes, if you're in a relationship with somebody, they're supposed to validate you and do all those good things, right? Um, but when you are complete and whole and independent, right? Even financially, right? And I'm not saying if you're not independent financially, you can't find somebody, but being financially independent puts you in an advantageous position. Here, why? You would choose differently. You will not just settle for somebody because they're giving you money and they're buying things for you, because this is the only place I have to live, because it's his house, or he's the only one could pick me up. I can't drive, so I had to depend on him to take me everywhere. If you had your own car, if you were able to afford to buy yourself a car, if you're able to rent yourself an apartment, able to maintain a certain lifestyle. I'm not saying be rich. I'm just saying to be able to maintain yourself financially. There's certain things, ladies, and I'm sure if you be honest with me, that you will not tolerate from a man, right? Another thing you will not tolerate is disrespect. If you have respect for yourself and you are somebody who understands your value and your worth, you are not going to tolerate some man being disrespectful to you. You're not. So from the time they start, you are not needy. So your thinking is not, oh gosh, are he talking to me this way? He just talked to me real rough, eh? And he just tell me all kind of things to me. He just make me feel real hurt. He just insult me and thing. And oh God, but he's so good. Look, he's so I can't attach to him, girl. I had to talk to him as miss him when you don't text me, when we don't go out, and then we don't talk about the physical. If you all have a physical relationship, then some people become attached to that, and you can't do without that physical intimacy, right? Um, I have a phobia. Yeah. Sally will read those comments to me after. Here it is. Here's another thing, ladies, that you will not tolerate in somebody. And all this is leading you to Mr. Right, right? Right? Here, what you will not tolerate if you are somebody who knows your worth. You're confident in how you look as well, right? You're not necessarily, all women have insecurities, right? Let's be real. I've never met a woman who doesn't have one, two insecurities. But I mean, it's not to the point where you don't like how you look and you hate yourself, you just go in the mirror and cry. It's not like that. You're confident. You know you're imperfect, you're confident. You know I can handle my stories. I know I could do it why I have. When I come out, I come out hard, right? No, you're confident in yourself, right? Here what you wouldn't tolerate. You would not waste your time with someone who is just giving you the bare minimum. They're giving you just enough to keep you interested and hold you close, right? They're giving you just enough so that you wouldn't say, well, this done. But they text you today and they tell you some nice things, and then you don't hear from them 2 days. And in them 2 days, you're wondering, should I text? Should I call? What? How come, boy? How come he not talking to me? And then when he do come on, of course, men have insecurities, sometimes more than women, right? When he do text you now after the 2 days, it's some excuse why you didn't hear from him for 2 days, right? And you trying to figure out, um, gosh, is he into me, boy? Does he really like me? I wonder if I did something to make him feel a certain way. I wonder what he said, or you're trying to decipher what he mean here when he say, you gotta show your friends what he type. What he mean by this? What you think he trying to say, girl? You think you real like me? You think, right? Listen, if you had to go through a woman who is confident, secure, know who she is, have worth and stuff, self-worth, is not going through that drama. Because you will know immediately what you want and what you deserve in somebody who's interested in you. And when you're not getting that, when the man taking you, I don't know if any of you all have ever experienced that. Somebody who's in your life, they started off hot and sweaty. They started off like texting, video calling, like all during the day they're messaging you and thing, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got this man, he's so interested in me. And then bam, it started slow down, slow down, slow down. But not that he gonna, every 2 days, one he might pop up once in a thing, still trying to hold you. And you, while he playing his games, you spending time, although he texting you every 2 days or whatever, you're not sure. Mentally, you consumed. Mentally, you are consumed. He like me, do like me, and all your friends. We think he mean here, girl. We think he mean look, he message me here. And then he come back here. We think he trying to, what you think? You think he just being cautious. Come now, come now. Watch me. You don't have time for that. Ladies, a confident woman who not needy, you don't have time for that. It's like, oh, okay, you playing games with me. From the time you come with the elaborate excuse, from the time you come with some elaborate story, whatever, why you didn't text for 2 days or whatever, especially now, I'm not talking about this is how your conversation is all the time. I'm talking about somebody who went from 100 in the beginning to 10. So had you all hot and sweaty in the earlies, and then all of a sudden they're dragging you along. You could spend months with this person trying to figure out where this going, and you're going out with him, he coming and making sure he come around once in a week or 2 weeks, right? Some people go through that for years. I say in months, but some people, when they're always in this place of uncertainty with the person, and they're holding on thinking, well, one day he will commit totally to me. One day it would be, ladies, listen, if you have self-worth and you understand who you are, you're confident about who you are not tolerating that. But the reason why a woman would tolerate that and be strung along like that is because they lack confidence. It's because they feel that they need something from that man that they don't already have. And so they're holding on for that validation. They want to know that, okay, it's not that he don't like me no more. It's not that he lose interest. And so you're holding on and holding on and holding on. Don't let that be you, ladies, right? So there are things, why I'm saying these things, ladies, is because understanding who you are and understanding your value and your worth as a human being, and even before God, will help you to decipher I don't want to call anybody a waste of time, but it can be a waste of time in terms of relationships. It would help you to save time going through a set of fellas who just on strippiness, because you'd be able to recognize them quicker. You'd be able to recognize one time if somebody playing games, because you know to yourself, I'm not tolerating that. I don't want this. And me telling you, don't text me again, or we done, or me just stopping. Let me be the one to stop texting you, and you're not playing games with no guy, but you just done. You realize this fella not serious, you done. You ain't even crying because it's 2 months now. I mean, all you don't get vexed with me, but I know I say that a lot. But I don't know. I don't know if somebody, I don't know, maybe. But I mean, after 2, 3 months of talking to somebody, even 4, I mean, if the person stopped talking to you, that gonna cause you so much emotional pain that you crying, right? I mean, I don't know. That maybe I'm a little more tough or something, but I don't know. Just move on. 3 months, okay, I waste 3 months. Time to move on. Don't even shed tears, ladies, right? Because we're gonna go with that anyway. Consider it, hey, I get out early. At least I didn't. At least this didn't last a whole year of my life, right? So, but I can understand if it go on for long that you become extremely emotionally attached to this person, and then, but 2, 3 months, 4 months, I mean, and you only ever cry for somebody after 3 months, damn it. I've been 3 months, less than 3 years. Um, yeah, yeah, Karen, good. Anybody cry 3, 4 months and you could survive? Yes, you could survive. Yeah, 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 yeah. He wasn't worth it in the first place, right? Um, so ladies, don't waste time with Mr. Wrong. While you are wasting time talking to Mr. Wrong, you're emotionally invested to the wrong person. If the right person, because here what's happened. When that person's stringing you along, you are emotionally invested. So the right person could come in that moment while you wasting time trying to figure out what he's trying to do, and you wouldn't see them because you have already um committed yourself emotionally to this person who's stringing you along. And so you're wasting time with them, and you're also blind to the Mr. Right who could be around the corner. You're not even opening up to him because you're trying to get this one to like you. You're trying to force him to call you more. You're trying to beg him to text you. Ladies, don't beg nobody to text you now. Don't beg nobody for. Imagine you begging somebody to spend time with you, to text you. Ladies, don't let this be you now. Don't be sending anybody message saying, "Oh, go send me a little morning text every morning now." I had to tell you to text me. You supposed to be in love with me and into me and real, and I had to tell you to text me and say good morning. Or I had to beg for attention. Once you start begging for attention, ladies, if a man is into you, you would know. You would not have to ask him to text you. You would not have to ask him to spend time with you. Even if he's busy, he will make time. He will stick in a little. Listen, even if the man is swamped, right? Even if he's swamped and he could genuinely be swamped, you're on his mind, but he can't engage with you. He know that his day gonna be tough. He will message you in the morning and say, "Hey, babe, today gonna be rough, and I'm probably not gonna be able to talk to you. Love you, enjoy your day." At the end of the night, when he come home, how could he not think about you? He's supposed to be in love with you, right? Or you're in a passionate relationship, and he reach home after a long day. How could he not think about you? How could he not want to say, "I just wanna let me just I'm tired, I can't talk to her, but let me just tell her something. How you going, babe? Your day was good, you're safe. I'm tired, but so I'm gonna take a sleep now." Yes, sir. So ladies, don't beg. A man who's interested, you would know. Those of you who have been pursued in the past, you know what that looks like. It don't take effort. It does not take effort to take up a phone and say, "Hey babe, morning, how you going? Hope you have a good day. See you later." Right? So you gotta read the signs, right? Um, so ladies, here we go. I want to get to this. I don't want to I don't want to make this a two-part. I want to get to this, right? Um, okay. I have noticed, and even in preparing for this today, um, I think I'd be correct in saying that men are approaching women less. So let's say 10 years ago, the way a man would um, initiate things with a woman, he would approach, right? You wouldn't have to guess or wonder, he would approach. I think that is happening less, right? Where it's this thing with the manly man who would do the pursuing and approaching, right? And there are reasons for that. And these reasons come up because of research, right? One is Rudy, you should be doing this session. That is actually the number one reason why men approach less. What Rudy just said there. Um, One of the reasons is one, women are less approachable. So men approach less because the women themselves are less approachable. There's a there's a whole feminist thinking now in ladies. You may not be a feminist, but a lot of women have a thinking that takes them away from what I would call feminine characteristics and the way God meant for women to be, right? Which every time I say, and all I do is quote the Bible, it's just the Bible as we quote in, right? I'm just saying what God says about what he thinks a woman should be, because he made you now. And those attributes are things like kindness and gentleness and meekness and submission, right? Actually, a lot of the things that the men said that they're looking for, right? Now, ladies, I know the men have their issues too. We're not on that. We're not on that. Them need a session. The men, the softness, the femininity of a woman, the gentleness, the quality. Men love a female. They want you to be female, right? Whereas a woman who might be strong and independent may have a sort of attractiveness. Generally, men looking for a female, right? And so women have become Miss Independent, which you all know I'm not saying. Yes, you all know I'm not saying that being independent is wrong, because I spoke about that earlier. I said that's a good thing. It's a good place to be. But there's the independent woman who gives off a vibe, right? The woman who gives off a vibe when the man, the most confident man, afraid to approach you, because you just have that look, and nobody likes rejection, ladies. Nobody, even the handsome guy, whatever, the confident, nobody wants to be rejected. And if you see a woman moving a certain way and you think, well, I ain't going there. She looking like, first of all, they say, well, she looking like she don't have a man, or she looking like she not interested in nobody right now. She looking like one of them independent women who busy, busy, busy. That's the next thing. Why women become less approachable, right? You're busy. You're out. Your head always in your phone. You're always doing something. It's from one meeting to the next. You don't even have time to make eye contact with people. It's just you're on a go. It's the pace, what's the word, the grind. They're always on the grind. It's like, yeah, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Let me do this, let me do that, and in the busyness of it, you don't connect with people. You don't have time to connect with nobody. You're busy. You might be in this place, and yes, you might be for a meeting. It might have a man there who giving you eyes, but you can't see he because your head down in your phone doing what, I don't know. Or as you finish, you're up, you're gone. Right. So ladies, it's becoming more and more difficult for the men to approach, and I think the reason is one of them is that, I'm sure there are others. Women are becoming less approachable, right? The other reason why men don't approach as often as they used to is because they actually rather approach on social media. So life has become so funny and ironic that a man would see you in person and find you interested and attractive. Let's say he's seen you over a period of time. Let's say you all go to Starbucks. It just so happens that you all go to Starbucks at the same time every day or once a week or whatever. And he noticing you over a period of time, right? And all he had to do is get up and come across and maybe introduce himself or make some small talk, but we'll get into that, right? How for you, the strategies for you, right? But rather than that, he go to somebody to find out your name, to find you on Instagram, to slide in your DMs and talk to you. What's really that? What's up with that? So they rather miss the opportunity to speak to you face to face, to connect with you in human eye-to-eye contact, than to go home, find you on Instagram, go through all your pictures, everyone, and then DM you and start a conversation that way. I mean, I know it works for some, but come now, ladies. Some of you, sorry, I've been married 21 years. Some of you who may be a little on the older side and looking to find a husband, you ain't looking to play no games, you're looking to settle down, you're looking for a husband. You ain't looking for no chat and long talk and stuff or whatever. Yeah, I hear you, but you had at some point that not making sense. You leave me, you could watch me in my eye and talk to me, and you rather go on Instagram and talk to me. So men are approaching less, right? And here what could happen. If you're not that photogenic, you could go to your Instagram and say, nah, me ain't messaging she. Forget. Was really this boy? Ooh, look what's right. And he get a wrong impression of you on your social media. So he done with that. where he could have just meet the real you right there, right? So listen, yeah, we living in some sad times, Karen, but it is true. So you sitting down waiting to be approached, ladies, I think is a very big mistake. For those of you who said you think you should not approach, or you were waiting for Mr. Right to come to you, I think you are making a mistake, because he might be Mr. Right, but he might, there are a million reasons why he doesn't approach you or doesn't make the first um, move, right? Um, so, right. Right. Okay. So, I mean, it have these guys, we do have to be careful. Tell me if you notice this, right? Tell me if you notice this, ladies. The ones that tend to approach, that bold and confident enough to approach, are actually the ones who approaching not only you. Every woman that they're attracted to, they shoot in a shot, right? They have these, if you're a member of a church, a gym, you work in an office, it have those guys who every time the new girl come, once the new girl come, everybody just sit back and they just had a count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Right, look, he gone. Right? As the new girl come, he's shooting his shots, right? Also, everybody know in the office who is the man that has struck everybody, right? You don't want him to approach you. He not on you. He just shooting his shot. Wherever he gets you, he gets you. And not looking for no long-lasting relationship, right? He like the attention. He like the thrill. He like the kill. He like the pursuit. There are some men who just like that. So they will approach, but it don't mean that they're all into you and stuff. It's just an ego thing, right? And everybody know you're in a circle. If even in church, we know it have people like that. Once somebody new come and she attractive, he gone. It's a matter of time before them they're talking and stuff. And so if I next in line, right, after you try a shot with Jane, Jenny, Marcia, Lisa, Joanne, Catherine, and I am number 7 on your list, boy, gone from here. I don't want to hear nothing from you. Don't come by me. Don't even talk to me. In fact, as you come, I tend, no, we feel it is. You know what I mean? Like you go in a bakery and you just pick it. No, I don't want that type of person to approach me. Right? Don't. Yeah. But here what has happened. A lot of women is actually get taken by those men because they feel special. If you don't know better, they could make you feel special because a lot of those men are charming. They have personality. They know they're doing it a while. That's their job. It's like a hobby. So they know what women want to hear. They know how to spot certain types of women too who would be vulnerable to their advances. And so they know they could make you feel special. They know when they come, they know what to say, they know what you want to hear. And you could fall prey to that kind of person, right? But there's a type, don't assume, ladies, that because a man is not approaching you, that it means that he doesn't find you attractive or wouldn't mind getting to know you. Remember, I said everybody's afraid of rejection, right? And a man who not looking for attention, right? Remember this guy who are not afraid to approach. It's just attention and ego sometimes, right? You know, and to prove that, hey, any woman I talk to will fall for me is nothing serious. But a confident man who don't need that kind of validation and don't need to feel that he's the best thing in the room, he might see and find you attractive and don't, not necessarily approach, right? So this is where I'm going to go to, ladies. Now, I want to do this before the night. I don't want to go too late, right? So I'll try by 9:30 to be finished. I'm so sorry to keep you all so late. Remember, I said that I was going to give you some tips. Gosh, should I take this into part 2? What to do, ladies? Should I stop here and take it into part 2 next week, or should I continue? You tell me, because I don't want to rush. But do a part 2, talk to me. I seen yes, and I seen yes part 2. Please continue. Oh gosh, continue. All right, continue. All right, okay, more continues than part 2. All right, okay, right. So here we're going now, right? This is me now helping you ladies. Oh gosh, people who say in part 2, I guess you could get, if you have to leave, you could see the balance of it on YouTube because it will be on YouTube, right? If you can't stay to the end, right? I apologize. So I am going to give you 3 strategies, ladies, to approach a guy. right? Without seeming, somebody earlier said, you don't want to seem too forward, you don't want to seem pushy. So you don't, necessarily want to come on like that woman who, forward and out there, right? So it's three steps, right? It's three steps for you, and I'll give you a story. Um, Let me give you a story first, right? And then I'll break down the three steps, right? Um, this is a story that I saw on Instagram, not Instagram, TikTok. The lady was saying that okay, first of all, a little backstory. She's slightly overweight, not, I wouldn't say like fat. You wouldn't watch her and say, hey, she's slightly overweight, attractive, yes, but, you know, not somebody you would consider slim, right? You look at her and think, okay, maybe she's a little overweight, right? And she joined a gym. And so one time, okay, I mean, I'm being careful what I'm saying, but okay, a guy, I just being real, right? A man in a gym who fit and buff and stuff, I wouldn't necessarily, his type, I don't think would be somebody who is overweight, right? I'm not saying that as being practical, right? If you all disagree with me, let me know, right? But that's just practical. So she went to the gym to lose some weight, to try to get fit. And she went over like a little over a month. And she would, the same times that she would go to the gym, she would bounce up this guy who was like definitely fit, certainly nothing overweight about him, fit and healthy looking, right? And she would always admire him. And even beyond how he looked, she realized that he wasn't somebody that, behind all the nice ladies. And in fact, she said she would notice that women would try to flirt with him because he was attractive, and he wouldn't, she realized that he wasn't somebody that would take the bait, like just because attractive women coming up to him and saying, help me with this and help me with that, that he necessarily falling for it. Some guys, they can't resist that, right? Attractive girl dressed in nothing coming and asking him to help them with sports. Come on, right? Anyway, so she observed him, long story short, she observed him over a period of time, right? And she realized, okay, this man not only real good looking and fit, he have some kind of integrity too. So she decided, right? Dressing nothing. Well, yeah, in gym they could take it to another level. So she decided, because has always been she's a very confident, educated, um, all-rounded person, and she's like, she even though she knew that she was, an overweight kind of thing, she's like, you know what, I am going to approach this guy, right? Now remember, he's super fit. And this is how she did it. First she went and she said, hey, I don't know if you, I hope you don't mind, because I realize, I've been coming here a while, and, you know what you're doing. I am really trying to do this particular exercise. She said she made sure and choose something that could not have been interpreted as seductive, right? In any way. Like she tried any to seduce him, right? She said, it's to try to get rid of the flab hair and, certain things. So could you show me how to do this or whatever? And he was like, yeah, sure, right? And he was showing her, and then he went further to show her, because it was an exercise she knew. And then he went further to show her what more she could do, right? Like there's other things, and she's like, okay. And she said, when she realized, and only when she realized, that he was engaging, right? Not, not tracking her or anything, just he was really happy to help her. Then she's, because she didn't introduce herself at first. It was just like me, asking this guy. He's seen her over a month. She's seen him over a month. He said, she said, oh, by the way, my name is so and so, right? And what's your, and he gave his name or whatever, right? Then she said, after he introduced himself, she said at the end of she actually he stayed and helped her with a lot of stuff. She said she made sure to have some way to contact him outside of the gym. And so in them, because all she knew was this guy coming to the gym, and well, now she knew his name. So it wasn't that same day, but like the next day or 2 days after that, she gave him her business card, because something came up that they had it, some mutual thing. And she was like, hey, what I could help you with that? And she gave him business card, and he did call her. Long story short, she was given the story. This was like 6 years later, they got married. So this is a woman who would not have, you probably would have looked at her and think, no way she could get through with him because of the physical, right? No way. Because, I mean, yeah. But the girl shoot, and she was intentional, right? And so she used three things to do it without, and it was her trying to, she was shooting a shot. She was tracking the man. But he didn't know that. He didn't think that. She didn't, right? He thinking he helping this lady in Egypt, right? The first thing she did was, she said the first thing is to find a question that you could ask this person that is relevant, that doesn't seem tacky, that doesn't seem like it's like a far-fetched question. So the guy wouldn't know, would be like, why is she asking me this? And for him to think, well, you're just trying to track him, right? And so this is not something I'm suggesting to do with somebody you meet today or you see today. Obviously, it's somebody that you've been seeing for a while, and okay, you know what, this person, you kind of figure out this person. So let's say somebody in your church that you never talk to, and you keep seeing the person from afar, or somebody in your work that you never approach because you're thinking, no way he would like me, but something come up that presents an opportunity for you to have a conversation with the person, right? So it's flirting, but not flirting, right? So you find the question, relevant question. You get into the question. Now, after this, it could stop her. After this, it could be the end. It just so happened this guy was a nice guy, and he wasn't rude to her. He was helpful, he was engaging, he was happy to help, and so on. So after the question phase, you could tell if you could continue a conversation with the person, because it might well very be that you go and you ask your question, your relevant, pertinent question that, and the person be like, whatever, and you could tell they don't want to help you. Then that's it, right? You ain't going to embarrass yourself again. But you try a thing, right? And you say, okay, at least I didn't embarrass myself, because it was just a genuine question, right? But once you realize that this person is engaging you now, that you actually have this person's attention, that whatever question you ask them, they're happy to answer, and they even going into more, then you need to get to the point somewhere that of an introduction, where you know the person name, they know your name, you establish a little bit about yourself, so then the conversation change a little bit. And all of this doesn't have to be in the same day, right? Because remember, this is somebody you're seeing bouncing up here and there, whatever. And then the last part is follow-up. Something like might be interesting. The last part, I'll give you an example of a couple that I set up. I mean, they're still married today. They're married over 10 years, but yeah, anyway. The last part is follow-up and exchange, right? After the introduction and you realize you had a good conversation with the person, there must be some follow-up and some kind of exchange of information outside of that place that you all meet. And you have to find a tactful way to do that. Remember, you're flirting and you're tracking without him even know he getting tracked. He just think is a genuine, it could be business, right? So I remember years ago, I had this friend who wanted, I had to change up the story a little bit, but the person wanted something done business-wise, right? Let's say they wanted some stuff printed, right? A lot of stuff printed, right? They wanted, I'm making a thing, but it was something to do with business for real. My female friend, and I knew she kind of was looking at somebody, a male friend that I worked with at the time, right? And when she asked me about the job, the thing that she wanted done, I was like, here what? I said, girl, this is your chance, right? I said, so and so could help you with this printing situation. I said, I know for a fact they do it on the side or whatever. So go ask them, tell them if they want to know how you know, tell them you ask Unika and she tell you, take whatever. And she was like, right. So she said, after the initial thing, she asked the person, the guy, he told her all the information and stuff. She called me, she said, right, it went good. He gave me real information. He was real helpful, whatever. I said, right. I said, listen, do the job by him. I said, don't be stupid, right? Even if he costing you a little more to do it by him, do it there. Because this is somebody that, because she's looking around for the cheapest way, right? And she did just that. Obviously, they had to exchange numbers or whatever. And she after that, it was just like a flow, right? She would put in little things, whatever. They had to talk back and forth for a while because of the job, that the business transaction, and it evolved into more. right? But initially, it was a case of her knowing, okay, I'm going into this knowing that I trying to get to know this boy better. So she have a thinking cap on as to how the conversation going to go, what she going to say. But it was a natural thing because it's she looking for a service and he providing it, right? And so that's one example. And the gym thing was one example, but in many different scenarios and things in life situations will come up. But ladies, you can't just sit down and wait for him to fall in your lap, is what I'm saying, right? So those three things again: ask a question, make it relevant and legit, right? Not no stupid question that the man going and say, "Was she asking me this for? Where she come from?" Make sure there's an introduction at the end of the conversation, whether it's that day or the next day, sorry, a proper intro, and say a little bit about yourself, and then have to have follow up and some kind of exchange of information, right? You might gain a really good friend, it mightn't go nowhere, or it might just end up being a really fruitful, wonderful relationship. In the lady case of the gym, it ended up being her husband. And it was somebody that normally she would tell herself, I don't know if he would be on me because of, how good looking he was. I mean, but she was still confident enough to try, right? So I was going to read this out, but it is a lot, so I'm going to ask you all to do it yourselves, right? And maybe I could talk about it a little bit next Monday. The Proverbs 31 woman. It's so cliche, and I know you all have heard it a million times. But this is the Bible's idea of what a Mrs. Right looks like, and it might shock you all. I'll go through it next week. Even if this is not going to be topic next week, but I'm still going to go through this list. You can read it yourselves. It's Proverbs 31 from verse 10, I believe, to the end, right? Ladies, I'll give you all an opportunity. No, yeah, to the end, 10 to 31. I want to give you all an opportunity to ask me questions, make comments. I want to hear if you all maybe have a story. Maybe somebody could tell me how they met their husband. If you were the one, if there's anybody on the call who you were the one that pursued, or you want something cleared up, you want advice, anything, I want to give you all the opportunity now to talk to me, because this is a part that I look forward to. So any questions, any stories that you all have, anything that happened to you that you want to share. Somebody had answered in one of the questions. They said yes and no, that they think Sally, maybe go through the I don't know if you're still there, Celeste, if you could go through the or Sarana. I saw Sarana on. Just go
Hi,
through the hi Sarana.
good
Just go
night,
through the
everyone.
last few. Yeah. Just go through the last few
Sally
comments.
isn't here, so I will do it for you, right? Sally
Okay,
left. She had another meeting to go to. All
no
right.
problem. So I know I saw some people commenting and maybe asking a couple of questions, but I couldn't see them in time.
I am not seeing any questions per se. I have been reading the comments as well. I think
Okay,
it's mostly just comments, but I'm not
comments.
seeing
Okay,
any. Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions at this moment.
okay. Well, read some of the comments, like some of the last few ones. We go up a bit. There was
All
one in
right. So after
particular.
you was asking if to continue, and most people were saying yes, no, that kind of
Before
thing.
that, even before that.
Before that, Marissa would have said the other half are in same-sex relationships, so the pickings are slim.
Right.
That's true. Because everyone on the strong independent woman vibe. So that's when he was talking about the
Right,
independent woman. I believe Miss Rudy said that.
right. Go
Woman
up
doing
even before
everything
that,
now.
Sarana. Sorry, yeah. Go up even before. It was
Okay.
before that. Yeah.
That's not all right. So Allison said you have to be careful not to be desperate to find, but once a good guy shows interest, be mature and shoot your shots.
Right. Okay.
Crystal said yes, in the sense that a woman shouldn't be running down any man. So I guess this is when he was talking
Right.
about if women should
Yeah.
pursue now.
Right. Yeah.
How the man coming if you don't go anywhere?
Right.
Just present yourself. Someone says just present yourself, but don't run him down.
Right. Okay.
Another person said position yourself pursue not so much. So in other words, position yourself, be seen, but not to pursue.
Not pursue. All right. Okay, cool. Thanks. But right. Okay, thanks, Sarana. So let me hear from you all, ladies, if anybody wants to share anything, your story, experience, a question, anybody. This is your chance to unmute your mic. Somebody said something at the very end there, Sarana. Yeah, ask your question, Allison. You could unmute your mic and ask your question.
I should meet anyone who even interests in me, any advice. So she's saying that I struggle to meet anyone who is even interested in me, I guess.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, this is Allison.
Hi, yes. Good evening, everyone.
Hi,
So
hi, Allison.
the comment I made was that I struggle to meet anyone who even interests me. So not interested in me, but any guy who I find.
Oh, that you find interested. Correct. Yes, right. Yeah.
So my question was, any advice? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'd have to ask questions. I mean, because if you are interested in someone, is it that, so let me ask this, right? Is it that you see somebody you're interested in, and you try to get to know them, or you try to make conversation and it doesn't go further than that, or you don't do anything at all?
I think maybe I need to do a little more. I'm a little bit of a homebody, so I guess I need to get out, but very rare do I meet someone who I find intellectually attractive. So, it's just like slim pickings. Nobody really catches my attention to even put all this good advice into practice,
So where are you meeting these people that you say you don't find intellectually stimulating, or
it's largely, I guess, on dating sites. So maybe I'm pulling from a bad pool.
Yes, for sure. Okay, for sure. I would say, I mean, I was going to mention online dating as one of the reasons to why people don't connect in person, because a lot of people do find it safer, because I guess maybe of insecurities and fears and rejection. Some people do find it safer to try to meet that person behind, a screen or through some dating app or social media. They're more comfortable that way. Some people find it easier to express themselves as well, because you're not, sitting in front of somebody, and somehow it's easier for some to be more expressive that way. Because I think sometimes women who have insecurities, I'm not saying this is you, but women who have insecurities about themselves physically might actually find it easier to carry on a romance online. But at some point, it has to come off line. And if it is getting somewhere, you have to meet the person. So there are still things that you're going to have to deal with, to overcome. I would definitely say to you, though, that yes, I don't think online should be your only way to get to meet someone. So, I mean, I don't know if you're maybe take up a hobby, or join some sort of organization. Well, we spoke about a gym. I mean, but somewhere, or even a church, right? In our church, we have a lot of young people. We started off with a lot of young people. A lot of unmarried people. In fact, the entire church, there was one time where it was probably just my husband and I married, because our church was really a lot of young people, and people would be like, hey, nobody in this church married. And now it is at this, how much years later, everybody is grown, and some of them found their future spouse right there in the church. Some of them maybe not, but a lot of them are now married. It's like a whole different dynamics, and they met their spouse right there. Got to know them over a period of time. So I believe joining communities is important, but the types of communities I think is also important, because you might say, okay, I want to join this community. I want to meet people. I want to learn to do Latin dance, right? You might go and join a Latin dance class, but the kind of man you will pick up in there might, so you have to be careful. The types of communities that you're joining but I think you might have to come out of yourself a little bit and allow yourself to socialize, in certain settings and groups, where it's safe. Um, Even if you find a girlfriend to go with you, somebody you're comfortable with to go with you, a simple thing like running around the savannah, walking around the savannah, you might see somebody who's consistent, who's doing it every day. You could start, listen, my husband gives a story, right? He tells it falsely, partially false, right? He adds to it, right? And misrepresents me in his story, but it's to make himself look good. Um, when we became friends, I met him. I was not interested in him in any sort of romantic way because I wasn't attracted to him physically. He wasn't my type. Not that I didn't find him like I didn't find he was ugly or anything, but he just wasn't my type. And when young people, I met him, I was 18, 19. You're looking for a certain type, and that's not my type. So, but we became friends, casual friends, because he used to be out of the country a lot, right? So our friendship could only be, and had no cell phone and no WhatsApp, right? So it's when I see him, we talk. So we over a time we build the friendship, got more and more. I worked at BWI at the time, and he traveled. And I said he traveled a lot, and so in the earlys, I would bounce him up in the airport, either leaving or coming in, and I'd be like, hey. First couple times I saw him, it was just small talk in the airport. But then as we got closer and I bounced him up, I would say, hey, my shift ending now, because I said, you want a ride? I said, I'll finish in like in 10 minutes. I'll give you a ride home, right? And he'd be like, okay, cool. And obviously that got us even closer as friends, just friends, right? But later on, when the interest started to be more, right? There are times where I wouldn't know when he coming in, I wouldn't bounce up, but I started actually looking for when he would come in, right? Um, and there were times where I actually would change my shift. So if we're not supposed to do this, I working in the airline is really supposed to be you're not supposed to check people's flights to see when they're coming in or whatever, but whatever. I would check to see what day he come in, because I know he gone, what day he come in, what flight he come in, and what time. And I would sometimes change my shift if I was not on that shift, so that it would work out that I'd be there to bounce him up. Well, he don't know, right? Why doing? To bounce him up to drop him home, right? You started to get interest. So obviously I shooting my shots, right? I shooting my shot. So the more I position myself, Vicky, exactly so. So the more we bounce up in the airport, and the rides home, we get to talk and know each other more and more. So I not, what I mean, I not just sitting, I working things out, how this thing gonna work, right? So Alison, I said that for you. But I mean, the only way you could even use any kind of strategies if you find yourself in a place where you could actually meet people. So I think you might have to push yourself more and get out there more, to position yourself to meet people. And in places where you meet people who would stimulate you intellectually, you could work it out. You could do it. Find a girlfriend who's willing to go with you. Um, and I have faith that you will meet that person. Yeah. Anybody else? Advice, question? I would love to hear a story if somebody has one. A
I have
successful
another
story.
question, Enix.
Yes.
I have a question from Ayana. She says,
Mhm.
as a Christian woman, are dating apps okay? So,
Yeah,
but
I
I
wouldn't. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with dating apps, but there are some apps that are designed. What's the popular one, Sarana? It's Tinder.
I
That's not a
think it's
local one
Tinder,
though.
yeah, and I know it have
Yeah,
eHarmony as well, and
right. There are some that are known for just people who just want to hook up. You know what I mean? There's some of them that are honestly not safe, and there's a reputation. But there are some sites that are vetted properly. They not just anybody could be a part. They're actually Christian dating sites as well. I'm not against it. Definitely not against it. Not against it. Yeah.
Faith asked a question. She says, what
Mhm.
if the woman makes the first move in the beginning, gets the man, and now becomes controlling throughout the relationship because she was the pursuer to begin with? Just wondering.
Well, I can tell you, Faith, that no man wants a controlling woman. So being controlling, I guess what you mean is the woman end up being more the stronger one in the relationship. Just how the woman started, she's the one that carrying the weight in the relationship. He's the more passive one, I assume, and the woman is the more aggressor and the one who might make more decisions, stronger, that kind of thing. Um, there are some men who okay with that, but a lot of men can't deal with a controlling woman, and so being controlling is not something you want to do. It's not something you shouldn't. I, I don't know, but it's just a kind of natural the way God made it that men are born to lead. It's actually how God appointed, right? He said the man is the head. God is the head of the man. Um, the man is the woman is the sorry, and the man is the head of the woman, right? So men, I think, naturally are born with that sense of leadership when it comes to families and homes and so on. But not all men are natural born leaders. I think every woman should give, even if you might be strong-willed and you are seeing things differently, the man actually needs your point of view. He needs to hear he needs help. He does need your advice and so on. But as a woman, you still want him to be the one leading, though. You don't want to take up that position. It's not meant for you to lead a home. Um, you all have to do it together, but in the order of how God placed things, it is more natural for the man to be the head, to be the leader. Not saying a woman cannot make a decision in a home or she can't suggest something and the husband say, okay, yeah, let's do that. That's a better idea. But when you use the word control and you're getting into kind of, you know, and I don't think in any woman's heart, deep in her heart, you want to be in any relationship where you have to constantly be the one making the decisions, where you carrying the weight. I think every woman wants to know you can relax and be under a good leadership then. You know what I mean? Where you don't have the burden of I had to carry everything here. I had to make all the decisions. I'm the spiritual one. So, if you find yourself in a relationship like that and the man not make willing to make any decisions, he not ambitious, you got to be constantly pushing him to, then if you're not married, I would say, if that's not what you want, don't, you know get somebody who more suited to maybe leadership, I would say. Yeah. Any other questions, Sarana? Is it possible for one
Yeah, I have a question from Vicky. She asked,
Mhm.
what about someone who is guarded?
A woman who's guarded?
Someone, she said. So,
I
Vicky, can
assume
you
assume she mean like if you as the woman is guarded.
yeah, I think so, yeah. She
Um
said the man
oh, the
actually.
man guarded. Well, um okay, guarded. If you're in a relationship with a man already and he guarded, that's one thing. That might mean that he don't totally trust you. But if you're talking in terms of you trying to get to know somebody and the person is guarded, it might just mean the person is guarded because of past experiences and hurt. And it might just mean that that person need more time to open up to you or to whoever the person is interested in. But if it's a existing relationship and you're trying with this person and the person is guarded, like you're in a relationship with them, um, if that goes on all the time, that could become a problem later on, because it will hinder your communication. Somebody who's guarded and they're not going to be free to be open and honest with you. They feel you're going to hurt them. Um, but if it's somebody you're getting to know and you're now pursuing and you're now the person might just need more time to be able to trust you and realize that you're not against them, that you're not going to hurt them. And they're probably that way because of something that happened in the past. So I wouldn't say write off the person, but um, you know, give it time. Give it time. Anything else, Sarana?
Yeah, I have another question here from Sans. She said, is it possible for one who has depressive episodes to finally be in a good relationship?
Mm, yes and no. Yes. I wouldn't say I can't find a good man or be in a good relationship, but it would be a strenuous one for the other person, because when somebody's dealing with depression, it doesn't always it in the moment it makes sense to you how you feel, or sometimes it don't even make sense to you. So you can't expect it to make sense to the other person, because sometimes when you're dealing with depression, sometimes nothing actually brings on the feeling. You just feel heavy, you don't want to do anything, you don't want to talk to anybody, you might feel emotional, all these things, and there isn't a real reason sometimes, or sometimes there is, but either way, it is not that easy for the other person to deal with. So the person might genuinely love you, but it is going to put a strain on your relationship. And this person would have to really make up their mind and commit themselves and say, I'm going to love this woman in spite of, and I will commit to helping you. But the person should not leave you as you are, though. I wouldn't suggest that the person just say, okay, you know what, my girlfriend or my wife have these episodes of depression, but she would deal with it, whatever. The person, if the person really genuinely cares about you, they will um try to get help for you, and to be supportive and that kind of thing. So I wouldn't say it's impossible to have a good relationship, but it is going to be, listen, that person going to have to really love you and be committed to work with you. And it will put a strain on the relationship for sure. And so my suggestion, my advice to you is, if you are not in a relationship, um, don't go into one until you could sort that out. At least you could get help, or at least you could learn coping mechanisms, understand your triggers so you could deal with it. So you might be totally free of it, but at least you know how to cope and you're on the way to healing. But if it's still something that is a major issue in your life, I wouldn't suggest you go into a relationship. It will actually kind of be a little bit unfair to the other person, to be honest. But I'm not saying still that it might have somebody out there who would say, I'm going to work with this person. I love them and I want to see them better. Yeah. Anything else, Sarana?
No, I'm not seeing any more questions.
Okay. Well, ladies, I am sorry to keep you all here. Oh my gosh, it is 4 minutes to 10. I apologize. That was really not my intention. Um, I was going to ask if anybody else had a question or comment, but it is too late. But next week if you come back next week, I don't know what the topic is yet. I do want to go through the Proverbs 31 woman real quick. And if you had a question or something you wanted to say or ask, we could start with that next week, right? So ladies, thank you for joining me, for staying with me. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I look forward to next week. Yeah. Have a wonderful night, ladies.
Bye, ladies. Good night. See you all next week.